pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'll make a motion to approve the rest of the agenda.
I'll second the motion. A motion from Stenzer and a second from Derby to approve the minutes and agenda as presented. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. 9 a.m. Lewis next, Washington National, to discuss supplemental benefits. Morning.
Good morning. I'm also going to give you this one. Okay. Just handed you as a packet with, I just put a couple of our policies in there so you guys would have an example. I did give the auditor, we gave her a coordinator's package, and then also I gave her, there's four of the policy in there and stuff in hers. So just so you guys get an idea of what we offer. So I'm the new agent for this area, so you've never seen me before. So I kind of handle anything north of Highway 20 from the state line. Washington National has gotten into the group policies here in about the last 3 years in the state of Iowa. They've been doing it for 107 years. The company is based out of Carmel, Indiana, and they are an A- rated company, and we have $4.6 billion in company assets. So they're a very large company. They hold like 4 major companies. So supplementals, the reason they're becoming more and more important, you guys know the insurance cost is going up and up and up, and the employees are complaining every time you take something away from them, but yeah, you guys are just having to come up with a way to make the coverage. And what we're seeing with a lot of the counties, that they're having to go to like $3,000, $6,000 deductibles, then offer the employees, if they want to pay them down to like a $500, they have to make a certain amount of concession to it. And where we come in is we help with that deductible type thing. We can offer them, actually give them cash benefits to do instead of just lowering the deductible.
You know, we haven't had any problem, I don't think, and really, correct me if I'm wrong, any complaints about our deductibles out of pocket.
Sure.
So I mean, from that perspective, you know, I don't think it's a problem with us.
So, well, and that's good. But you do have 80/20, I'm assuming?
Yeah.
Well, so what that's meaning is somebody who has a $10,000 and even at a $500 deductible, then you start from the $10,000, it's 80%, and then you still have, they're going to have to come up with $1,500, $1,800 out of that. And that's a $10,000 that'd be a small claim. If you end up with something like cancer, you're going to be dropping $100,000. And the problem that we know with in the insurance industry, keeps all sorts of statistics and stuff. 61% of the people in the United States have less than $1,000 in their savings account. So it's really hard for them to come up when all of a sudden they got to deal with $15,000 in medical debt. And what we offer,
yeah, but we don't fall under that. We don't, you know, what is I think our out of pocket is $5,000, right? Max.
We have $1,000 deductible, and I think
It's either 3 or 5. I can't remember.
something out of pocket.
Yeah.
sure.
You know, so I mean, we feel we're covered pretty good on that. We really do.
Sure.
Yeah.
And that's not a bad policy on having a $5,000, but it's still $5,000 that they're going to have to come up with out of their pocket. And those costs are just going to keep going up, and it's going to get harder and harder for you guys to maintain that policy. We offer 2 different ways that we do. We can do a section 125 where you guys can say, yep, we'll just pay the $30 or $50 premium, we add it to it. Not only does it help cover deductibles, but it actually gives them money directly to them. And if you look at those policies, a lot of the costs for like cancer is not medical. 61% according to the American Cancer Society is non-medical, it's not covered by your medical insurance. And that's because you got high costs, like places like St. Jude, they're free there, but you still got all the plane trips, you got all the travel, that's all covered in our policies when you look at them. So that's what we offer. The cancer policy, what's unique for us in the industry and what stands us apart in it, it's a return of premium. What that means is you take the policy for 20 years, and if you never use it, you get all your money back, every cent. If you use $2,000 and you put in $10,000 in premium, you get $8,000 back. And then if you use the policy, which oftentimes with a cancer, you're looking at $20,000, $30,000 worth of benefits, because we pay for radiation, we pay for chemo, supplements if you look in the cancer policy. The cancer policy is our premier policy. And the reason it stands out so much, you guys know what the odds are according to the American Cancer Society for getting cancer in the state of Iowa if you're a man. One of you two is going to get cancer. It's 50%. And for women, it's 40%. So they're not a whole lot better off. So that return of premium policy is, we sell tons of it. That's our number one selling product. So we have riders and different things you can add on to them. Another policy that's really popular out there right now, especially in our school systems, because we deal with mostly state and school systems, is our pregnancy rider that's on the hospital. Basically, if you put in about $600 to $800 for the policy, and it's not just for maternity, you can collect $5,000 back. So if you know of somebody who's planning on starting a family or interested in starting a family, they just have to have the policy for 10 months before they get pregnant. So that's one of them. We have the accident. The short-term disability we offer is on there. You guys don't need that because of your sick leave policies and stuff with most of the county organizations. But we do have heart stroke, and we also offer life insurance too. So we offer a full complement. We handle all the administration of the policies. There's nothing for you guys to handle. We prefer to do everything on a post-tax basis. And the reason that is if somebody collects on the benefits, they're not going to have to pay taxes on it. So it's a whole lot better not to pay taxes on $30,000 than it is on a premium. So, but we can do it if you decide that you want to offer it as a Section 125. We're capable of doing it that way too. So that's kind of who we are. And like I said, and we'll work with you guys as much as you want us to. Typically, we just come in and do an open enrollment, and because of the post-tax, we do it whenever. It's volunteer basis. So we don't come in and say, you have to come in and sign a slip or anything of that nature. So that's pretty much what we got, guys. So the pricing, I did leave on the policies with the auditor. So on each one of the policies, they range from $25 to $50 for family and stuff on most of these policies. So they're really inexpensive and affordable.
A month?
Yeah, for a month. So I'll let you guys review that. I left my business card is with the auditor, and if it's something you guys are interested in, let us know. We can come back and talk more.
All right,
Thanks.
for your information. Okay.
They just really like it.
I think I was at one.
Okay, yeah.
Scott, we're ready for you.
Okay.
You know what, Clapper?
Sounds familiar.
Are you talking about the lights on, lights off thing, or are you talking
No,
about the
rollers.
tool where you just go like this and then it goes
No, I think it's Don, it'll come up here, when I play the. He's hot. Oh, boy, he's hot.
Who's hot?
John Clapper.
So we're on drainage?
We can be. We're waiting for Scott to get here.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Well, I don't have anything other than what's on the agenda.
I see they're seating DD1.
Yes, yep. And then Corey Jurgens seeded his lat 4, but Rognus didn't do lat 2, so they're working on that too, over there.
Good.
Yep.
Good. Yeah, they hit the weather pretty good.
Yes, so
Not big rain.
do all at once.
But I suppose it's gonna get messed up anyway when they have to touch up the ditch.
Probably, but
Do they come back and touch that up in the spots?
if somebody tells me to tell them to.
Yeah. I don't know when
So-
they're gonna
You know, I haven't seen that smile in a long time.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, where have I been? I don't know. So we can talk about DD1 lat 5 quick, if you want.
Okay.
So what happened is DD14, you know, north of Thompson, they had, the ditch goes to the east. Well, there were 2 laterals on the west side of the ditch, which they don't use 14. They use 1. So I don't know why it was ever in DD14. When we reclassified 1, I should have caught that and had them reclassify it into 1. So as Rick Hopper was classifying 14, he noticed in the minutes, in the drain minutes, that those 2 laterals had been abandoned by the district. Okay, so I talked to Mark Johnson.
So who's responsible for that? And
Well, right.
Remind me to ask you another question too on non-districts. Go ahead.
Okay, so I said to Mark then, well, what do we do? They're abandoned. And he feels like the north one is all broken down. It's not used. People have tiled their way to the ditch. But the south one, he feels like there's some landowners that may not always get along. And if the one closest to the ditch decides he doesn't want to do
Show me
anything,
where this is on the map.
it's these 2 right here. So this one is abandoned. This is broken down, not usable. This is the one where if this person decides,
That's the one he did the repairs.
he sure did. So if he were to cut off access, this guy has no way to get to the ditch unless he tiles it
Right.
himself.
Right.
So Mark felt, in all fairness, this should be a working district tile.
Okay.
So what I would like to do is have you guys reinstate it, but as DD1 lat 5. So that way it's part of District 1.
So we're
Not
gonna
14.
specify that?
We don't have a lat 5. We're creating that number to make this DD1 lat 5. That way it's no part of 14.
Okay.
So that's what I would like to see happen.
Okay.
Put it on next week.
It's here.
Do we do it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the next item.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So,
So that's what I want.
I'll make that a motion to create DD1 lat 5 from the DD14 main 2, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Second.
In the best interest of the
Part of.
property owners that
Mhm.
utilize it.
Mm-hmm.
On a motion from Derby and a second from Jen, or from Spencer to create DD1 lat 5. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. One other item I should have for you.
Thank you.
Second district?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, it's in the bills, but
This came up to me up by Emmons. Who has control of a non-district?
No one,
So how do they take care of problems?
themselves. And it's,
So then they don't have to ask any permission either then, right?
Because it affects another landowner too.
yeah, you'd want your surrounding landowners to go in on it and fix
Well, the
it.
thing
but-
is that ditch comes out of the sewer lagoon, well, not
The outlet.
the outlet of Emmons, the city of Emmons. It comes in from Minnesota, but there's a bunch of trees there.
Mhm.
And they're breaking off and they're tearing down fences for Bill Rigg. His calves are getting out.
Oh, yeah,
Okay?
yeah.
So that's strictly up to the landowner. That's what I thought.
Yeah. Because I know somebody's been in on it before, and I explained that, and I know it's not a good answer for them, and they don't want to hear it, but,
They're taking care of it.
okay, good.
I just told them.
And if they have a real problem with it, it's gonna have to be a civil case.
Yeah.
And they would have to, if they need to call the Army Corps of Engineer, I don't know, DNR, I don't
I'm not
know.
sure who actually controls that ditch.
If it's a man-made or not a man-made,
Natural change.
if it's just natural, is it the Army Corps?
I don't think it's natural. I could be wrong. It's coming right out of Emmons, right there.
It's right in the corner,
Right in the corner.
Mhm.
Yep.
Okay.
because it's out of
Not on this
57.
map.
Well, it's up here,
Yeah.
so it's not in
See, there-
57.
There's a road right here, that little small road.
Yeah.
There's a bridge here. That's the one.
Yeah, so there's nothing we can do, and it also comes from Cassuth County, and it's not in a
Worth,
district of the,
Worth.
Worth, yeah.
You're
And
right.
they don't have a district there either,
Yeah.
so they're not willing to do anything either.
All righty. They didn't have a problem with it, as far as
Right.
doing it themselves.
Right,
They just didn't want.
I just always feel bad that when it's
All
not
right.
a district.
That's all I had on drainage.
Okay, we're gonna have a lot of hearings next week. Oh, well, we're gonna set a lot of public hearings next week. So,
All right.
that's
Thank you.
it.
Scott?
Morning.
All right.
I have an update on our bridge project that Rognus Brothers is working on. They got the bridge removed yesterday, and I don't know with the rain and the forecast, it's hard to say what they'll get done this week, but they're hoping to get some box culvert sections set down in the hole. But today they'll be setting dikes and pumping out the location to get the bedding rock in the bottom and see how it goes. So we're about halfway through their working day, a little over halfway through their working days of 35. So they should be okay on this project if things go well. The next project's also counting down as we go because their late start date was April 1st. So that one will be a trick to get inside the window and may have liquidated damages after the 40 working day contract provision. So hopefully the progress goes quickly. Of course, if we got rain days, we don't count those days, they're not working days. So I guess when the weather's good, if they work quickly, then hopefully we can get it fit in the contract window. The other thing I just wanted to mention here, Knudsen last day last week, and so yesterday and today, first 2 days we're short a guy. So it'll be a challenge to keep up on things while we go through the process of filling those positions, where we'll be filling 2 positions at once here in that shop. So we'll have the window where we're missing one, and we'll have a window of training for a new guy. So I guess we're looking for some patience from the board, looking for support through the process.
Well, as long as you're saying that support, I think it would behoove you to keep us in the loop of who you're considering. And I think it would behoove you to take a little advice from the supervisor of the district where you're gonna hire.
I'm gonna follow up with Kelsey on this one. Adam and I talked about this when I started, and I wanna make sure we're doing it right, so I'll do that tomorrow, and then, keep working on the process here, but.
What do you mean, follow up with Kelsey?
According, Adam made it sound like, well, he didn't make it sound like, showed me case law where the hiring and firing is the engineer's responsibility.
Well, we
So
can
we'll
change that anytime you want.
No, that's case law. That's the law. So we'll be hiring the guys as staff, and we'll bring the recommendation.
If you want
to
to
the board.
act unilaterally, you go right ahead. But I just want you to know I'm keeping a record of the things that I think are an employer should. Okay. And if the other two, I'm disappointed in you. I really am. You know, you're not the boss, and the three of us aren't the boss. The people of this county are the boss. Okay, do you understand that?
I understand that you're elected by our citizens to represent them, and I understand that I've been appointed by the board to run the department. And part of the responsibility of the department head is to hire and fire employees. So I understand.
Well,
I understand. Maybe you don't agree with that, but that's how it needs to be done.
No, it's not. And we will see how, it looks like it's coming too. We will see how good Adam's recommendation is, and Kelsey's. I see it differently, and not me. I have a lawyer too, that I run things by. So, if you want to continue down this road, you know, it's a give and take. It really is. And you know, the thing that started this was that stop sign in Scarville. You know, here's, the people wanted it, and just because you and Mark didn't want it, you put up a huge fight against it.
Don't bring Mark into that. This was an engineering report done by an engineer.
No, this was an engineering report done by, I read the same website you did. And the website said there was just as many pluses and minuses for that stop sign. Leave that aside, okay? We've had enough incidences since then with a guy up by Thompson, a guy that wants a sign in my district, $700 for a 1 foot by 2 foot sign. I don't think so.
I showed him the quote.
That's fine. I can get it made for 150, DOT approved, but what it proves to me is you don't want to work. You're going to do things your way, and you're not going to take any, lack of a better word, advice from the board. And so you can sit here and fight, and go back down to your office, and I won that one. But you're not the boss. The citizens of the county are the boss. So, I've said enough. I am very perturbed, especially after that $700 quote for a Rice Lake Country Club sign. Unreal. If you don't have any more logic than that, if your syllogistic skills are not any better than that, you have no business being our engineer.
Is that a separate sign that would go underneath it, or is that
Yes.
a stick-on?
Yep.
It's a separate one.
Is it possible to do a stick-on one at a lower cost?
I've already got a quote for a DOT approved sign for $150. And he sends an email to Al Hagan saying that it's gonna cost $700 and we're not gonna do it. He made the decision.
I didn't say we weren't gonna do it. I gave him the price and I said, send us a check and the approval and we'll put it up.
Come on, $700? Do you have any more logic than that? Really, seriously,
Can I have the floor, please?
go right ahead.
To address that one issue, we price a quote from the supplier that we get our signs from to the spec that we buy our signs. The quote was for more than $550 just for the signs. So for the admin time and the time for our guys to put it up, we added a little bit more money for the labor and time.
You know what,
And it matches,
you know what?
excuse me, Mike, he said I have the floor. $700 happens to be the exact same price that the DOT charges in their program set for the entire state. So I thought, in comparison, it seemed fair. It's the same sign that they would use. It's the same price that they would use. It's consistent. And I didn't hear back from him. He didn't call me or email me back, and then I get chewed out at the board meeting. I don't feel very good about that.
I don't care if you feel good about it. That your logic is unreal. It really is. You know what? I'll buy the sign myself. I'll go put it up for you. And I'll do it to the standards that you require. It defies logic, your thinking. It really does. When you're working for the county, you're not working for yourself. You're working for the county. You're working for the people. Do you know how much dollars taxes that Rice Lake Country Club pays to the county? Do you?
Oh.
Go look it up. Okay? And for them to ask for a 1 foot by 2 foot sign is not unreasonable. And I'm pissed. I really am pissed.
I just fear that if we don't support a country club like this, one of the only tax-paying ones in the area, it's going to end up the property of the county. And we don't want to have the burden of it to keep it going. And it may end up, we should support them in any way we can.
You've made things difficult, i.e. the stop sign, this sign, different things that make no difference to you or to Mark. Because you get your driving orders from Mark, I know you do. And that's true, because you've said it so many times. Let me talk to Mark. And I'm sick of it. And I know there's another board member sick of it too. And so you just take it from what it's worth, okay? And I've got 1.5 years left. So you'll only have to see me for 1.5 years, maybe not even that long. But I think it's downright sickening that you act the way you do, working for the citizens of this county. You should be bending over backwards, if possible, for the citizens of this county, and you don't.
I'm sorry you feel that way, Mike. Can I respond to that?
Respond.
You said that we don't bend over backwards for the citizens like we should. But I can tell you that our staff cares about their work. They care about the citizens out there. They live and work.
I didn't say your staff, I said you. I said you and Mark, not the staff. We have a great staff. They do a great job. Snow removal, you name it, they do a great job. I'm sick and tired of the way you're acting. So deal yourself only, not the staff.
Myself only. I know that I'm part of the staff, and I rely on my staff for a great deal of expertise, for a great deal of prioritization, for organizing all the work and making the hard calls to take care of the people. But I lean on them heavily for that. And for a department head not to utilize the expertise of their staff is foolish. And I happen to have had the privilege of inheriting
Can I interject something there?
Excuse me. I've had the privilege of inheriting a staff with a lot of experience and expertise, and I know that you don't always agree with that. I don't always agree with that. But you have to be able to support your staff, to trust them, even when all of your decisions don't agree. Because if you trust them to make good decisions, they will care about the job, they'll care about the results of the work, and they'll have the creativity to work on problems, to solve problems. They'll have the motivation to want to come to work and enjoy the job and take care of business. And when you constantly, interject and say, this isn't the right decision, we need to be doing something else without knowing the full consequences, then that's really, really hard on morale. It's hard to know, when can I make the decision, and when am I going to be undercut by a decision from above? If you never know, then pretty soon you're a robot, and you're waiting for your instructions and say, well, I don't know the answer, so tell me what to do next. We're missing a guy in Buffalo. What do? Do we not blade those roads until we have a new guy? Do we steal a guy off another machine, another route? What's the decision there? These are hard decisions. And I have staff that's able to make it work, to come up with new ideas all the time, to do things faster, better, more efficiently, because our budget's tight and doesn't grow very quickly. Our staff is limited. We have that set at the beginning of the year, and all we have to do is do the most we can within that budget, within that staffing level, and fight these issues about, times where we have somebody resign or retire and don't have somebody filled there. I don't make light of these decisions. They're very difficult. And so that's why I use my staff for support. Mike, go ahead.
You done?
Yes.
All right. What if your staff is wrong?
My position is to give them the freedom to make decisions, and if there is something that is outstandingly, problematic, to have an earnest discussion with them to see what their thought process is, to really pull them on how they make decisions.
Can you give me an example of where that's happened?
I ask them questions all the time, and it's very rarely do I find anything that,
Have you ever overruled, Mark?
when the directions come from the board.
That's it. So stop sign and that's about it.
It comes to a point where, like I said, do you trust somebody to make the best decision?
I'm asking, have you ever overruled, Mark?
Nothing comes to mind.
Okay. Have you ever interjected your opinion as to how things should be done?
I offer my opinions all the time, absolutely.
And how often do you go with your opinion?
Well, let's take a step back. I'm, trained as an engineer,
Yeah.
and the engineering work and everything, I'm much more comfortable with.
Let me preface this with, there are quite a few, I don't know how many compared to the population of Winnebago County. And I'm going to preface this also, two prefaces. Mark Johnson to me, is a very valued employee. So don't think this is about, I'm after Mark Johnson's job. I'm not. I am not. I said that to Jim Witt. He sat there and lied to me right in front of the board about it. Okay? I'm not after Mark Johnson. But there are things with Mark Johnson that needs to be addressed. And that doesn't seem to be happening. It's never happened since I've been on the board. And it's a personnel issue. And I think our production, as far as the secondary road, would be way better if that issue was addressed. We can talk about that later if you want. Okay? I think you are a robot for Mark. It's what, because Mark has a plethora of experience in this county. And he knows it. And again, I'm gonna emphasize this, Mark is a great county personnel. He is. But the things, I have discussed this with 7 of the secondary road people. Okay? Not gonna tell you who. They don't like coming to work here. Why? Mark Johnson.
Is that why, or is it other reasons? I mean, think about this from the top. If the engineer's not getting support from the board, and
Wait a second now, define that. Define where we haven't supported you.
what I've
You've gotten every stinking thing you've wanted, except for a stop sign and a sign for Rice Lake Country Club. Son of a bitch, that's unreal. You've got every frickin' thing you wanted. There again, your logic, your syllogistic skills are 0.
where is this coming from, Mike?
I'm ticked because you're fighting things that are trivial.
Who's fighting them?
You are.
The fight takes 2.
No, I'm bringing it to light. You could sign out to LA and say, we sure can. I'll get this done as cheaply as possible. To a tax-paying entity that pays over 20 grand a year to this county. You ever think of that? Do you think of that?
I think about those things all day, every day.
That's what pisses me off.
I think we should revisit this at another meeting.
If you want to go into closed session at a future meeting, we could certainly do that.
That's fine with me.
Anything else on roads?
No,
You have anything else? Okay. Consider for.
I got it.
Oh, go
Yeah,
ahead.
I do too. Do you see my point?
I see some issues. I'm not gonna go to the.
No, I'm not asking you to back me up. I'm not I know, Scott, I'm sorry for getting, I guess, more of the decibels than I should have. But it does really piss me off. On the trivial things, you fight, okay? And we'll go into that, so. Sorry.
Move on to consider for approval resolution consenting to assignment of trustee agent agreements, escrow agent agreements, and/or paying agent and registrar and transfer agent agreements. This is a new one.
So, Bankers Trust, was sold, or UMB Bank bought Bankers Trust Company. So these are resolutions that we have to do to, make it so that we can pay UMB Bank versus Bankers Trust. There's one for you. One for you. And then if you could just sign both of those, Terry. And John Danos from Dorsey and Whitney sent these out to us to have us do this.
Whitney's looked at this?
Yes.
Okay.
Who?
Dorsey Whitney?
Yes, they're the one who created this document. I have not had Kelsey look at it. If you want me to have Kelsey look at it, I can.
It's redundant.
And we'll sign the resolution after that.
I'll make that a motion, Terry.
I will.
Okay. motion from Stender, and I'll second the motion to approve the resolutions consenting to assignment of trustee agent agreements, escrow agent agreements, and/or paying agent and registrar and transfer agent agreements due to the sale of our, did they sell our bonds to somebody else or they were bought out completely?
I think it was the whole company
Okay.
was bought out, is the way I understand it.
All right, due to the transfer of the company. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Carries.
Thank you.
You're up.
You know, speaking as an ordinary citizen, and under the circumstances we're having to deal with our road alone, I think maybe you should take a drive on 360th Street.
I've taken, and I am gonna put this in for mileage, Carla. I think I've driven probably 400 miles this spring on roads.
And I'm guessing your mileage wasn't that good because it's not.
No, no.
I was on one yesterday and I looked at my truck and I was getting like 5 miles to the gallon in that soft road, but
And,
it's a tough year.
You need,
and I don't have a good answer this year for that.
I know, but I'm just saying,
Yeah,
as hard as Grace has a purpose, I have a purpose. And that purpose is to inform the people about what you're doing. Because as you say, they are your bosses.
Yep.
People in this county pay some of the highest property taxes. And if the state has their way with child services, with regards to mental health, those prices are gonna go up.
Yeah.
There are people I know that are ready to move out of the county because they can't afford the property taxes that are here right now.
I agree.
And-
I know 6 people personally that have talked to me about that.
Yep. As a valued resource that we are, KIW is, and taking nothing away from what you guys do because you don't have to deal with this issue, but people travel to our radio station day in, day out. They're collecting prizes, they're doing interviews, they're coming to have conversations, news tips, you name it. I invite you to drive the gravel road we have out at our radio station.
I'll drive it, I don't know.
Because, and I encourage both of you to do so. I've had to replace something underneath my Aztec as a result of not hitting the ruts exactly right.
In defense though, of our secondary road and.
Oh, they've already planed it once, but you gotta pay close, I'm saying, for your most valued assets, and I'm not saying the people are not,
Yeah.
but for some of your most valued assets that inform the public as to what you need.
You have an idea what you pay, what the radio station pays in taxes?
I do,
'Cause it comes down to dollars. It really does. You're right.
my job at the radio station has and always will be to present the facts and entertain. I stay away from the business side of it, but I invite you to make a phone call to Mr. Holdridge and find out specifically what he thinks, or you can talk to Carla, one of the two. But I'm sure it's pretty high considering the towers are very expensive.
Yep.
So, I mean, that's where I stand.
Yep.
I'm not slamming the road department. Those guys come through in spades when it comes to the snow and snow removal. But I have a 10 to 12 inch rut that is dual and a boil that needs to be excavated in the worst way.
Here's where I'll
It's
defend.
gonna get worse.
You can touch that up every day and it's gonna be the same the next morning. This year is an anomaly. It's bad,
I know.
you know, so I'll defend them on this so.
I know, but the thing is, I love biking. I love taking my motorcycle out there because it's easy to ride out there. Now you just stay in the rut and go the whole way and you don't have to worry about rocks. And our engineer loves it as well too. So I'm of dual sides of this whole thing. I understand where they're coming from, but I also understand there are some issues. And a stop sign, the people want the stop sign, it's because they see something we don't.
Yeah.
The people need a sign at the golf course or whatever, it's because they see something we may not.
Yeah.
We need to explore that and not, and see where it goes. That's just,
You know, it might be a trivial point to half the county, but when an entity is paying 20 grand a year in taxes, and they ask for a little sign, and it comes back, you know what, this is ridiculous.
It's not fair to,
Yeah.
I'll call Julie, she wanted
so that's where I stand, Mike, but it is what it is.
Tax Department, this is Julie.
to. Hi, Julie, we're on open forum.
Okay, I'll be down. Thanks.
And the other thing is, Mike, you speak for the people.
What's that?
You speak for the people, at least your district, so.
I try to. I'm not right all the time. I fully recognize that, I do. But I'm not wrong on this one.
I made it pretty clear to him that he's not gonna win that one.
Yes.
That was 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
I assumed it was gonna get taken care of.
And also to your point about graveling every day, they've done it once in 2 weeks, and we haven't seen anything yet. And I'm just concerned for the poor soul that's gonna go down there in the middle of the night because it's dark, and they may not see.
Well, that's Iowa.
I know.
I mean, this year has been really weird, you know.
Good morning, ladies.
Here comes trouble.
Yes. Just wanted to introduce, we have Anastasia Miller.
Well, hi, glad to
Mike
meet you.
Video, Mike Stencher,
Hi,
and
nice to meet you.
Terry Derby.
We've met.
Okay, there's so many faces when I did the tour, so.
And then Bill Jensvold is out today. Okay. And so then if you guys wanna just approve, her beginning salary.
Let's see, is the seventh.
Yeah.
Or received?
Received.
Received. You got the receipt. Okay.
Yeah,
One.
yep, I'll just make copies and give it to you. Mm-hmm.
Actually, we take the original, so.
Yep, I can give that to you. Yeah, so she started in and she's answering the phone, waiting for her and doing transfers already, so.
So what side are you starting on then?
Motor vehicle, just because that's the knowledge I come with,
Okay.
so
Yeah, she's got a lot of
eventually,
knowledge.
do all this.
Yep, eventually she'll be cross-trained to everything, and, I think that's just the way to do it in the office, is everybody knows how everything functions down there, and kind of difficult to write, Terry.
We're getting there.
What did
That's
you
just how
do?
I always write.
What did you do?
I cut it. Spray paint.
Wow,
Okay. Well, I just wanted you
Well,
guys
welcome.
thank you.
to meet Anastasia,
I
you'll
think
see her
it'll
around.
be-
Thanks.
Well, there's challenges, but yeah.
With everything,
Yeah.
really, so.
Yeah, she's had some crazy days here already, so.
Already.
Yep, but she
That's
just
not
had
even, that's not even.
No, I just,
no,
I take it with a grain of salt because I know that I'm still learning.
Yeah.
So,
and she handles the counter.
Well, you're gonna be learning the rest of your life because people are unpredictable. So,
that's true.
Yeah.
That's true. The's always one-off situations.
yeah.
So, okay, I just wanted you guys
I'm one of
to.
them.
Oh, okay, so watch out for you. Got it.
You'll be down here different times too with stuff with the board,
You have to
so.
retire.
Yep. I'm gone in a little while, so.
Oh, okay.
Oh, are you not?
I'm not gonna.
Thank you, that was getting hairy, especially.
Come on now. Yep,
I've done my duty.
There you go. All right, thank you, you guys.
Starting these, I guess.
Oh, boy.
I'll make a motion to approve the semi-monthly county claims.
I'm sorry, I gotta look at them. I didn't get a chance to look at them.
Go ahead, take your time.
Is there an easy way to, pull out what we paid Jacobson, Westergaard?
Yeah.
Every year? This would be interesting. Engineering fees for drainage,
We've done
which
a lot
is
of,
very, very unnecessary in my opinion.
we've done a lot of reclassifications.
Yeah, that part is. If you take any Tyler that's been Tyler for 30 years, they know more than.
I look at it, it could be worse.
It could
I
be
know,
worse.
I know other engineers that charge a lot more.
Yeah, no, Jacob, our guy is great, he really is, yeah. It's just the law, the statute.
Yeah. I'm afraid it's not gonna get any easier because
Nope,
all the challenges out there.
yep.
So do you think that limit to pay an engineer to have an engineer needs to be raised?
They should abolish the statute altogether.
Oh,
You know, I mean, good night. If a guy that's been tiling for 30 years doesn't know what's going on in his area, well, I can't think of anybody who doesn't. Rugness, Gary Elgison, you name well, there might be a couple on the list, but, they could engineer any system you wanted, really.
So since July of 18, we've paid them $143,664.
There's big projects too.
And some of that is necessary, you know, but, and there again, it's not Jacob, so don't put that in the paper. It's not Jacobs and Westergaard, it's the state law. That's just who we hire, yeah.
But it'd be double if we had,
What's that?
it'd be double or triple if we used a different engineer besides
Yeah,
them.
exactly.
They're cheap compared to,
Exactly, yep.
So the value of a second opinion is something you want abolished.
It's what?
The value of a second opinion, or in this case.
No, it's not even a second opinion. I mean, you get a second opinion on bids, you know?
That's an interesting perspective.
Yeah. All these contractors will keep each other honest, you know, so,
So you think if there's a $50,000 job, the contractors aren't gonna say, well, it's the county, so we'll tack on an extra 10 grand. and that's where we'll
absolutely
start.
not. They're gonna give they're gonna give their bid what they think they have to make money for their own business, and so is the next. Gary Elgison's gonna give a bid of $50,000. Ruckus might give it for 48.5. I can do it a little bit cheaper, cause my costs are a little bit, you know, so. It,
I think it'd be one of those things, if you did that, then you would allow yourselves the possibility, we want a second bid.
yeah, oh, absolutely, yeah, you would have to bid every project up to, I don't know what, 25? I don't, whatever, you pick, you be the arbiter on the figure. But, yeah, you'd have to bid most projects.
Okay, so if an engineer, we take the engineer out of the process, but he would have guessed that it would have been a $50,000 project. Do you think then that those contracting companies would then turn around and say, well, we see it for 30,000? They would actually bid lower than the actual cost of the engineer.
Oh, they do, you bet, absolutely, they do right now.
Well, that one.
So you take them out of the equation at all, they're gonna be bidding their bottom dollar for them to make money.
We had
Capitalism at its best.
We had that one instance with Cassuth County where another engineer had
Oh, good.
over-engineered it.
Yeah.
And it was gonna be, God, what was it,
It
about
was
$7 a
yeah,
foot?
yeah.
And by the time we got our engineer involved and reconfigured it to a more common sense practice, it was down to like 2 something.
Yeah.
So it depends on what engineer you get. I don't see a Tyler being the type of person that would over-engineer it just to sell a product.
But
Well,
also,
they'll get caught because the next guy will say,
that also
No, I
tells you
didn't.
how good that my drainage clerk is, because
she's
when
good,
she was
she's
dealing
good.
with Cassuth County and they come up with $1 million project, and Chris goes, this isn't $1 million project, and gets it done for 300,000. You know, that's a testament to what she does.
Is that Barney?
Chris is awesome for.
Oh, that I don't deny, and it only goes to show that when she was battling with, I don't know if you were here, Hancock County, and they were trying to tell her how to go through procedure, she had
Yeah.
already dotted all the i's and crossed all the t's,
Yeah.
and
And
here they are trying to tell her how to do it.
That pissed me off.
She was by code where they were going by political policy.
And you see,
But that's the way they wanted to do it. But we were controlling the county on it, so.
Yeah.
They didn't have a lot to say.
It's not like you can set the rules.
we could have saved a lot of money. I have no time, and maybe they have no time for me, that's time too, for Hancock's board. We could have saved a lot of money sharing an engineer. Could have done it easily, because the engineer, as far as in quote engineering, doesn't really do much, you know. It's needed by statute, but you know what? I'm waiting so fast for 2020 November, actually December 31st of 2020. Always headache and go to Terry and Bill, and whoever replaces me.
Have you found your replacement?
I'm not even looking.
It's kind of like non-profit organizations. You can't quit until you find your replacement.
Whoever wants this job, good luck. You made a motion, I'll second.
Okay. Got a motion from Durgan, a second from Stender to approve the semi-monthly county claims. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. I believe we can stand adjourned.
Yep.
It looks like you're sitting.
Yeah, that was shorter than I thought.
Yeah, Mike, if you hadn't taken up all that time.
I know. I know,